I was trying to think of like one of the first times that me and you hung out, and it was when I was still living in that basement suite, and I was having a basement party, and you came over.
Yucca-flux?
Yucca
shucks.
I don't know if it was Yucca Flux. It might have been before that, but we were just playing quarters, and we were playing with glasses, like idiots. And you broke like 3 glasses in a row because you're a freaking Hercules.
That's possible.
And then you walked to London Drugs and bought me a 6-pack of new glasses.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. I think they're these ones. I'm pretty sure they're these ones.
That's fantastic if they're, 'cause that's a long time ago.
Isn't that cool? And then we had a date later. We went and saw Avatar. Remember go seeing that?
I remember that.
I remember that too because we just started dating.
Yeah. So you're going on a date with Greg?
Didn't you initially not like me?
No, I never said that.
I thought that was like a thing. Like I know. Like I think we had this conversation like when we very first met. Is like, yeah, I wasn't quite sure about you.
Well, you're such a big dude. Like you're huge. You're scary.
Just huge.
Yeah, and so I was scared of you. Probably, I never did not like you. I just wanted
I'm
you to
glad
like,
with how it turned out. I'm glad with how it turned out.
I just wanted to be my friend.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
now we're
friends
getting.
now.
Okay, let's do this.
Do you want me to leave?
Yeah.
Should I leave?
Alcohol. We have some Stumbletown.
So, welcome to the Trice Life podcast. This one, we're going to talk about some stuff in order. Greg was from Prairie Hunter, was smart enough to make some notes.
Yeah, this time.
Notes. So, we tried this once already, and Greg wasn't happy with his performance.
Yeah, a little lacking. We didn't, first off, we didn't have anything to drink. Second off, we were on a schedule, which I never like to be on a schedule for stuff like this.
Right.
And, but yeah, so take 2, rewind. And we're back in Martinsville.
Yep.
The Trice Life.
Life.
# Trice Life.
Yep. So let's talk about Prairie Hunter. Let's talk about how this whole thing came to be and how it's really taken off, man.
Yeah, it's a labor of love, I guess. It's Prairie Hunter has kind of transformed over the last 2.5, 3 years. It started as one thing and then the next. 2016, I started out as a Facebook group and Instagram page to share cool photos and hunting stories and
just to get those likes,
camaraderie of the outdoor lifestyle and all that stuff. I had no plans whatsoever for it to turn into a hunting show, but that's where we are today.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I started out, like designing a logo, and I thought, we'll run a couple contests and see where it goes from there. And we made a T-shirt, and initially it turned into an apparel company. Unbeknownst to me, people started texting and emailing me and asking where they could buy my apparel. And I said, you can't, unfortunately, because I don't have any more. And they said, well, if you make it, we'll buy it. And Prairie Hunter Apparel was born.
It's the way to do it, right? Get them wanting more.
So, you want to give me your money? And I'll take it. So that's what happened. So Prairie Hunter was around, Prairie Hunter Apparel, was around for like a year and a bit. We went through the Prairie Land Sports and Leisure Show as Prairie Hunter Apparel. So we set up a small booth, sold some clothing, had a good response from it.
That's got to be a crazy experience seeing all of those, just a massive amount of booths and stuff,
Yeah, and a lot of them are definitely more professionally set up than mine was. I made it kind of like gitchy, like, pallets, and made it look, a little rustic, and had some deer antlers up, and
no big
we're
deal.
selling like literally 3 different types of tees, a couple hoodies, a couple hats, but people like the logo. It pretty much was just 2 arrows crossing with wheat sheaths at the bottom to kind of represent Saskatchewan.
Simple enough.
And it was simple, and it was, I guess, well stated because people liked it and they wanted to buy more stuff. And
I mean, while you were there too, you must have met some good contacts being at the show too, even just yourself walking around and just seeing how big this is.
Yeah.
It's not just you. Right?
Well, yeah, the Sports and Leisure Show, it's every year. And it's the best that Saskatchewan has to offer in outdoor living. So they promote, camping and RVs and motorcycles and lodging and outfitters and pretty much A to Z when it comes to anything to do with outside in Saskatchewan. So where we fit in, I was like, well, we're selling apparel, but it's around kind of the outdoor lifestyle.
Right.
So that's where we kind of fit ourselves in. People just became used. Yeah, click click. People became used to the name. That's kind of the big reason for me being there. And we had no plans beyond that to even make it more than a apparel company.
Right.
So in spring of 2017, I have a lifelong friend named Kyle Burgess from Hanley, Saskatchewan, who came to me with like an idea to produce a hunting show. He knew that I had moved back from Edmonton a few years earlier, and that a coworker of mine, Jason Foley, had kind of reintroduced me into hunting. So he came with me this idea of a ecotourism meets hunting and outdoorsy stuff, as well as promoting local business. So,
did he have like a background in like making movies and video? And
yeah.
stuff?
So Kyle, he owns his own production company called Campfire Stories. And he's done, wedding videos, and he does some producing for, I think, the on-air stuff for the Rush, and
cool.
He did some TV production for Fishing Saskatchewan, filming for them. So he knew what he was doing. So he asked me, is like, well, him and I grew up together, but he had no idea about my background in hunting, and so we sat down over drinks, of course, Pilsner, cold pills, and everybody likes a cold pill if you're from Saskatchewan. And so
I was the first thing I started getting drunk on was Pilsner. I didn't have a choice. I never drank like through high school and stuff. And then when I started hanging out with people, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna get drunk." And then it was always like the biggest box of Pilsner you could find. I think it was the Cubes.
I think that if you're from Saskatchewan, that you don't actually get brought up as a baby on breast milk. It's more here's some pill in a bottle.
Here's some pill in a bottle. Yeah,
away you
it's
go.
flat though, so it's okay.
So yeah, he was just like, well, what's your background in hunting and stuff? We sat down and discussed it, and I just told him, I grew up hunting then as a kid with my dad, my brother, chasing around, pushing bush for him in Saskatchewan, and not really knowing much about hunting. And then we had a bit of a falling out, and it kind of took me away from the hunting and outdoor lifestyle for quite a few years.
One reminds you of the other, kind of thing.
Oh, exactly. And so I kind of had not negative thoughts towards hunting, but just my memories of that stuff. And so I met a friend, Jason Follier, when I came to Saskatoon from Edmonton, and he kind of reignited my passion for hunting back in 2016. And he even introduced me into archery hunting. So something I've never even thought about doing. And so him and I, he's like, I'll help you find a bow. We'll practice, see if you like it first. Don't spend a lot of money on the best stuff.
Yeah.
See if you like it. And I absolutely fell in love with archery hunting. So, Jason, he's from Martinsville, I believe, as well. And he grew up and he's hunted his whole life and fished his whole life.
Yeah.
So he was like the perfect teacher for me, somebody that, had the same, had passion for being outside and hunting and was patient enough to teach me these skills.
Right?
Well, yeah, like I'm in my, 30s and
early 30s.
Yeah. And taking up a new hobby, a new skill, and having somebody patient enough to teach me these things was great. So, we went out for 2 seasons now. Well, it's 2019 now. So, 2.5 seasons, and made many mistakes. Missed many animals. Yeah, many lost arrows. Arrows aren't cheap either.
You're not supposed to close your eyes when you shoot, right? That's
I know. I was like, oh, it's not like a video game.
Yeah.
I don't get my arrow back after I miss.
Bullshit.
So, I learned lots of lessons from him. He's like, just take this as a learning lesson, and we'll move forward. Yep. And it's part of hunting.
That's awesome,
like
man.
95%. I'm not sure if that's accurate percentage, but many people aren't very successful. They're very low success rate, especially with archery hunting, especially with spot and stalk mule deer archery hunting, which means like you have to crawl after the animal to get close enough and then take a shot and hopefully you hit it.
Well, it's like anything when you watch Audrey's super into basketball, and I think it's like the boringest thing in the world. But like whenever you watch basketball and highlights, it's like, man, they're making like every shot. This is amazing. Like this is not that hard of a game at all. And then if you actually sit down and watch a basketball game, it's like, good Lord, this game takes forever. And they never make a basket. So like when you watch these hunting shows, some of them where they're like making a shot every time, it's like, well, of course they're going to show you like all the good stuff. But they don't show you
the well-edited kill shot placements.
Yeah, they're not going to show you the day where he's sitting there for 18 hours doing nothing.
Yeah, so
that's a good thing to learn at least.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of the idea of our show. Like Kyle and I brainstormed on my deck like for many days that summer and like over many cold beer, like I said, and we came up with this idea. And he's like, well, let's have a hunting show that pays as much attention to the landscapes and interactions between the hunters on the show as it does on the hunts themselves. That way we're not focusing on only capturing big kill shots of big animals. So, and we're like, oh, how about we showcase local businesses? Like, for example, I brought a bottle of Stumbletown gin for us to taste while we're talking. Audrey
is very good.
Enjoying it.
Yes,
Audrey's a gin girl.
Yeah, so
it's really good.
Companies like that, like Stumbletown, or we had a few other ones like Brisky's Butcher Block, Lake Country Co-op, get involved. So we're like, let's showcase some cool local businesses, integrate, their business into our episodes. And then
I think we're kind of the same way too. That's kind of why we're doing this as well.
Yeah, and then even film some delicious preparation of meals.
Delicious, you say?
Delicious wild game that we harvest every year. So a lot of people that don't hunt, they think, oh, what's wild game? That's disgusting. It tastes wild.
I have to ask, what does wild boar taste like compared to your regular pork?
Well, yeah, we shot some wild boar last year at Wild Boar Adventures in Battleford, and they taste, I say, it's a lot darker meat. Okay. It has a little bit of a wild taste, but nothing crazy. It's the pork, like the main cuts themselves, like the back straps and the chops and stuff, have the same consistency. The taste is roughly the same. It's a little different, but the biggest difference I found is when we cooked bacon, that it didn't render down at all. So we put a piece of bacon out on a tray and we cook bacon in the oven. I know a bunch of weirdos for those who don't cook bacon in the oven. Yeah, it's weird, but it's the best way to do it.
We'll talk about that later.
So when we pulled it out, first off, it cooked very fast. Secondly, there was zero fat, like very little fat,
right?
And it cooked almost immediately.
So comparatively to your typical bacon thing, you get in this, it's all grease, it's all
you cook
fat.
You cook 100% piece of bacon, you get back say 75% of edible bacon because the rest is just grease that's on the bottom of the tray. This was like 100% boar bacon, and you got back 95%.
Oh wow,
cooked product.
Oh wow,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and it was delicious. So, but there wasn't very much of it because the belly on wild boar, like they take the pork belly to make bacon, and it was a lot smaller than what you get on a harvested.
But you're getting better meat though.
Better quality, yeah.
Right.
So we're like, we'll cook some meals. We've done a bunch of that. We're going to do some cooking episodes this year. We knew though, like when we got this started with this whole thing, that if we didn't get proper sponsorship, traveling costs money, everything about a professional production. Cause we're not going to half-ass it. We're going to do it well, film it well, edit it well, take our time, that we need sponsors. So like later in 2017, we finally secured that sponsorship with Tourism Saskatchewan.
That's a big one. That's
a great group of people there. They love the idea that we're promoting the province, promoting not only tourism, like the ecotourism part of bringing people in to hunt in the province, but also showing off local companies. And like I said, Brisky's Butcher Block, Lake Country Co-op, Molson Coors 306, which is like the local base of that, amongst a few others. Stumbletown is a company we got kind of introduced to this year. And I believe one of the founders is from Hanley, which is where our producer's from. So that's kind of neat.
Even better, yeah.
Yeah, so then...
I remember you were mentioning when like you guys did a trip up north, like you really try to pay attention to where you're staying and like...
Yeah, like say, like for example, we were up in Nipawin or wherever, right? We try to find a cool local motel or hotel that's family owned or something and showcase the people that own it. Like Shell, like our first season of filming, we actually stayed at a place called Shell Lake Pine Resorts. It's a really cool little family owned like log cabins that are out in Shell Lake. So people that are out there in the summertime camping or fishing, or, you know, want somewhere that's, you know, they don't have to set up a tent or whatever for a couple nights. Shell Lake Pine Resorts was that place for us. And we went out there during a hunt in the winter, and it was awesome. We got some cool footage. And so, so places like that are the places that we kind of target when we look for people to get involved with an episode. Like we have either sponsorship or like product providers. Like we have different levels of stuff that people can get involved with. So like the first season we filmed 5 episodes approximately, which are now all on our website, prairiehunteradventures.com, or our Facebook page. Tyler's enjoying some red wine right now.
I just realized my glass is filthy. And I'm still
but the wine's delicious.
Wine's delicious.
So yeah, we wanted to start like filming people's stories. So initially we were like, oh, we'll get a group of our friends and hunt and film us. But we're like, people will hear our story once and kind of be tired of it if they hear it a second and third time.
Exactly. Remember that time I told you? Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's like a friend at a party telling you the same story over and over again. Like,
I wish we knew a friend that does that. You know, I don't think we do, that can tell that same story over and over again.
It might be me. But when I drink, I might tell the same story over.
Definitely not you.
I can't edit my life. Yeah, I can't edit my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, we wanted to film people's stories, like why they hunt, where they come from, and their history. So like your background, if your dad taught you this, your grandpa taught you that, and the response for that idea of a show was amazing. Like we talked to a lot of people at the trade shows, but there was a big learning curve. It was quite steep for us. Think of this, trying to capture a perfect shot of the perfect animal, getting the animal in frame, getting it, focused, telling a good story along the way, and then having it all go smoothly. And it was very hard to achieve sometimes. So our first season and a half of filming was a lot of steep learning curves.
I imagine so.
And like frustration, because Kyle, he grew up bird hunting, but he never grew up big game hunting. So he would be wearing like the loudest, noisiest wind pants, and like we'd be crawling, and oh, there's a mule there. Okay, it's 100 yards. Okay, Kyle, shh. Kyle, shut up. What do you mean, Kyle? Okay, let's go. Shh. Kyle, slower, quieter.
Yeah.
So we had some discussions.
That's awesome.
After a few like days of, hey man, we need to go spend some money on some quiet pants, and you need to talk quieter, and like, because those are all the things that Jason taught me. He's like, hey, like you literally can't breathe. If we're within 30 yards and there's no wind, the animal will literally hear you breathe.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I mean, especially mule deer, their ears are really big, so they're very
So you actually went out and bought quiet pants.
Oh,
that's
yes, quiet pants. There's companies out there that make specifically quiet clothing for that type of hunting.
That's crazy.
So, so we realized that shooting like a realistic hunting experiences, we never even harvested an animal, was just as important, like showing us shoot a giant animal on camera. So we're like, well, many hunters every year go the season and never harvest an animal. So if we could capture a cool like drone shot, a cool scenic valley, show off a cool business, tell somebody's story like that, pulls on the heartstrings. Like I grew up, like myself, I grew up hunting, loved it, and had to be taken away from it because of a negative experience. Right. And then I was all of a sudden brought back in by a cool guy. Yeah. And reignited my love for hunting. Those are the kind of stories that we want to tell. So,
and if you can do that for somebody else too, like that's huge.
And the biggest thing for us too, because I mean, like there are so many people in Saskatchewan across Canada that have like so much experience hunting, that they were taught as a young kid and all the way up and learned many years of how to do things. So we wanted to make sure to portray that I wasn't a professional hunter, that I was just a regular Joe person that had a passion for the outdoors. Like when I go out there, it's my peace, calm, serenity. Like my regular job, I work in a jail. it's stressful. Every day is like a new challenge. So having a stress relief, a place that's calming for
Your happy
me.
place, man. Yeah.
It's like meditating.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's for sure.
Yeah.
It's we go early season in scout for animals, and some of those times for me, my memories of those times were just as good or not better than some of the times where I actually harvested an animal, because it's like you see animals walk around, they don't know you're there, but you're just still there watching them.
You almost make me forget sometimes too. Just like, holy crap, how beautiful it is out here, and I'm seeing this,
people that live across our province that maybe don't enjoy the outdoors as much as some others, they don't realize how diverse the landscapes in our province are. Like we have, Canadian Shield, we have deep valleys here, we have forests, we have sand dunes, we have whitewater rapids, waterfalls. We have like all these different things that people aren't aware of, and so like partnering up with Tourism Saskatchewan, it's giving us the opportunity where we can travel and showcase these places to people that have never seen them. So like even I know Tourism Saskatchewan has a website where you can, if you want to research a certain specific area of places, to see places and top, list things to do, they have a website, so you can go check that out.
I've always said, I think that a lot of people don't realize how big our province is. Like I'm from Ontario, and Ontario is pretty big, but comparatively to Saskatchewan, it's quite small. Like it is like, I think it's like a 10-hour, maybe more. If you were to start at our southernmost point and go to the top of, is that a good taste?
It's making the audio for my drinking my Stumbletown gin and tonic right now.
There you go. I'm gonna plug it again. Delicious.
So
but how big we are, like it's insane. Like I mean, the province of Saskatchewan, it's massive, and for you guys to be able to go out there and see these crazy landscapes and how diverse the animals in that are too. Like you were mentioning about how there's different animals in different areas, and of course you hunt certain animals in different areas, and it'll take you across the entire province. It's an amazing thing.
Like, people don't realize that Saskatchewan is a province with many wild game species, like not even just big game, but wild game in general. Like we have moose, we have elk, we have whitetail, we have mule deer, we have pronghorn antelope, we have upland game birds like pheasants, we have waterfowl that come through the province throughout the year, and we're starting to see wild boar. People go bear hunting, like I'm going on a bear hunt this spring.
Crazy.
First time ever, and people eat it and love it. And so
what
people,
does bear taste like?
I will find out and let you know. we will get some bear and we will eat it and hopefully enjoy it. And
that's the one thing I like when you bring that up too. It's like you're not just going out there to hunt something, to kill something.
Yes.
You're also going out there to harvest this animal, to feed people. It's not just I'm hunting to kill something and walk away. It's I think that can sometimes get forgotten or missed, is that when you're doing this not just to shoot something because I get to shoot something.
Yeah.
You're then using this to harvest it to provide food for people. And
well, even like during the hunting season, there's many people that that get a tag for a whitetail, get a tag for mule deer, that get a tag for a moose, get a tag for elk. Like some people get multiple tags, so most families don't consume that much wild game. So the Wildlife Federation, Saskatoon Wildlife Federation specifically, actually takes wild game from hunters and donates it to the food bank every year. Huh. So
awesome.
So people that are homeless that don't have the access to like high quality protein, because wild game, to buy venison at a restaurant costs the premium because it's high quality protein. They actually donate it to the food bank, and the food bank disperses it to people in need. So it's a great thing. It's a great thing that they do.
That's a really important thing to keep track of, is that you guys aren't just
Yeah, like I said, and I go back, like we really want to get into cooking with wild game. We did a few short cooking episodes. I made some chili with wild boar. We called it the Prairie Hunter bacon and boar chili or something. Nice. Like that. We just made a funny
trademark.
Yeah, it's being trademarked and packaged right now. But no, just jokes. It's illegal. Anyways,
just kidding.
Yeah,
just kidding.
Just kidding. But no, like we made some wild boar chili with bacon and like a lot of produce from Co-op. Lake Country Co-op gives us all of our produce that we use for cooking. So we're like, we'll make some cool cooking episodes, because people, I think, have this preconceived notion that wild game, like going back, I said wild game tastes weird or funky, but it's all about the preparation, about how you cook venison and how you cook wild game, because there are many cool people out there. Like there's a Steve Ranella. He has a show on Netflix called Meat Eater, and
I've seen it come up. Yep.
So he actually has a cookbook dedicated to cooking wild game that I haven't picked up yet, but I probably will. So like on our website, prairiehunteradventures.com, plug again.
Nice plug.
We have a blog section. So we started to add recipes and cooking episodes and things like that. So people that, like our show or like our stuff, but just want to go, get an idea of how to cook something with wild game, they can actually go to our website to the blog section and check it out. So
you mentioned about Bursky's Butcher Block. Do they sell a lot of wild game?
They don't sell any wild game, as far as I'm aware. They process it.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so they'll process wild game and make it into anything that you want. But there's many safety and health regulations that come along with selling game. So there are actual game farms across the province that grow elk, that grow deer, and actually but it's the way they process and the way they sell it has to be controlled by Health Canada, I believe. So that's why places don't sell it. You can give, like as myself, I can give away my meat to people to eat, but I can't sell it. So
that's fair.
Which, I mean, it prevents, I think, or discourages poaching. So people to kill more animals than they should.
Right.
So so like going back to like 2018, we realized that to have a successful show, like getting partners, getting people's feedback, changing, because obviously the concept slightly changed over from 2016 to 2018. Right. Adding cooking shows, changing it from hunting just with us to hunting with people. So we're like, okay, well, social media is huge right now. Yeah. Facebook, Instagram. The whole reason why I started Prairie Hunter in the beginning was to share pictures. So I said, obviously we need to target social media, that it'll help our project grow. Kyle's this big maven when it comes to social media and how to buy targeted ads. Like that's not my wheelhouse. So we put targeted ads on Facebook and Instagram, made a page. We designed a new logo for our apparel for the show. And we started, hopefully would be appealing to like a broad demographic of people, and that our logo would be identifiable. So like our truck that you posted a picture on your guys' page, it has graphics and logoing that immediately identifiable with Prairie Hunter. So we wanted our logo to stand out, wasn't similar to somebody else. Right. We wanted, so we had a local ad, marketing and like graphic design company.
Yes.
Help us out with that. I helped tweak it. It wasn't the exact stuff he came up with, but I like to think I'm slightly creative, so I actually helped design the new logo. Awesome. And we started to gain great traction with our initial episodes. Like we were getting 7,000, 9,000 views, 5,000 views.
Holy crap.
And it's all based off of us marketing it properly on social media. And I think we obviously you get some negative feedback, but we take any negative feedback. We say, thanks for your feedback. We'll use it to improve our next episode and, go forward. That's all, that's all we can do. I mean, like I said, I'm not Jim Shockey. I'm not a professional hunter. Kyle's a professional producer and TV show. So or TV producer. So he knows what comes to that end to make a professional product. But when it comes to the content, obviously we need to adjust and, fix things and improve things. But I mean, as far as literally 2018 was our full first season of filming with funding. I think we did pretty good, and the numbers are reflecting that. And we're actually going to be on SaskTel Max on demand here right away. Kyle just finished delivering our 6 episodes to them. Oh, nice. So if people have SaskTel Max on demand, they can watch or go to the on demand section, and it's all like local programming. So people can watch our stuff there. They can go on, cool. They can go on our Facebook page, obviously, and watch it, or YouTube, or our website. So some of
what was the name of your website again?
Plug prairiehunteradventures.com.
Thank you.
Yeah. So like some of the sponsors we got, the first season we had Tourism Saskatchewan was our primary sponsor. We had Lake Country Co-op, again, gave us produce, food, gas for our hunts, things like that. And then we our second season, 2018, which was our first full season, again, like I said, we wanted to actually get some cool like hunting branded sponsors that hunters would see on the truck or see on our website. Like, okay, these guys are legit. If they get like good sponsors, like it's easy enough to get, Molson to give us a case of beer and say we're sponsored by Molson. But to get, some big hunting brands
things
behind
you
us
actually need stuff too.
Yeah. Right. And name recognition goes a long way in hunting shows or any kind of fishing show or outdoor show, to say like, oh, Joe Blow's bait shop or tackle shop sponsors us, or to say, hey, this brand is sponsoring us.
Yeah.
It goes a long way. So like Quigley Ford Optics, they're a high-end, like privately owned optic company out of Ontario. They make like very well-made long-range rifle scopes. So Randy Ford, the owner of that, he sent us some scopes to try out. We did like we went to the Saskatchewan Wildlife Range and did a day of shooting and filming and talking about the product. Sure. Which is cool because
what's different about their scopes compared to like the ones on your normal gun?
Pretty much the round, like most scopes that hunters use, the adjustments and stuff are vary depending on the type of bullet that they buy. So what Randy says is, okay, this is the very basics to what I do. Send me the round of your bullet, like the bullet weight, the ballistics, all that stuff, and I will make the scope specifically for that round. So pretty much you range the deer or the target you want to shoot. You literally adjust your focus, your sight focus to that distance.
Yep.
Because it has etched markings on the actual glass, say 1,000 yards, 9, 8, 7, all the way down to 100 yards. You put that range marking on your target, you pull the trigger, and your bullet will hit it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like a video game.
It feels like why hasn't no one thought about this before?
Exactly. So it was cool that he got involved. I had a new child this year, which is great. Decker, my little guy, turned 1 yesterday. So I needed a bigger ride. My old truck didn't have enough space in the back. So I went to Watrous Mainline Motors out in Watrous. I purchased a new truck and talked to the family. It's a family-run business. They actually deckled their truck for us. So we get to drive around and advertise their family-owned dealership all year, and they did a great job. They actually have their own graphics and deckling department. So people that want a deckling or even get like a protective coating on their vehicle, they can get that done right there. Apex Gear, which is an archery company in the States, they hooked us up with our accessories, like Lake Country Rentals in PA. They gave us quads to use for the year. Briskies, again, like I mentioned, did our processing. Company out of Bigger, they make custom bows, high-end archery bows. Cool. And again, a family-owned company. We did some filming with them of how they actually manufacture the bows and built us bows for me and Travis to use this year. So we showed off their facility. Spy Point trail cameras out of Ontario and Quebec, I believe. They sent us cameras, and then we had a camouflage company called One Rate. It's actually the only, other than Apex, the only American company got involved, but it's a guy that started this company out of his garage. It's a camouflage company, and the camouflage pattern is actually based off of his daughter's heart rate.
Whoa.
Yeah, heartbeat, ECG, I believe. She was in like Emerge or in critical care.
Wow. And
he said, I want to make a camouflage company, and saw her heartbeat, and
there it is.
It's actually in a heartbeat is what their motto is. So
that's cool.
It's really cool. Yeah. And so I reached out to him and I said, hey, we're starting to show up, and we really like your camo pattern. Tell us your story. And so we sent us some stuff. We did filming with this year. So all the filming we did in 2018 obviously isn't all edited yet, but when people get those episodes out and watch them, they'll be able to see all that cool camo, and we'll have links where people can actually order it. We're trying to actually get it up to Canada where people can buy it, because it's cool stuff. But
I like that you keep bringing back about family company stuff. You're really trying to keep the mom and pop shops going, and that's really admirable.
Well, like, having such great companies behind us gives a level of credibility. I mean, we're traveling thousands of miles across Saskatchewan filming and capturing amazing footage. So we're like, oh, hey, well, we'll just partner with some cool companies, but like not just cool companies that have a cool story, but companies that are like us, that were given a chance or given an opportunity and started small.
Yeah.
So like even Apex Gear, which is that archery accessory company, that's a family-owned company. So so we were lucky enough to secure that deal with SaskTel Max. So like I said, we're going to get our 6 episodes out with them. We're going to run a contest, so people that watch, we're going to give away some stuff, and hopefully that'll help draw our numbers up, because obviously SaskTel wants to see good numbers to renew us, and we would love to be able to get all of our stuff onto SaskTel so people can see our good stuff, because our first season, obviously, it's like brand new learning. We're wearing like we're wearing mismatched stuff.
Hi,
not
I'm
that
Greg.
oh, even learning how to talk on mic, like like this for me 2 years ago was so awkward.
You're a fucking
It's
natural,
foreign,
Greg. You're a fucking natural.
So so we wanted to have a show that had a broad appeal to hunters and non-hunters, because there's so many people like that watch SaskTel that don't hunt. So we're like, well, how we want to be able to target those people too, where they can say, okay, well, I don't necessarily hunt. So a lot of the shots we have of us field dressing deer or animals in the field, we don't actually show the gory stuff. So that way it doesn't put off. I mean, I know the hardcore hunters are going to might scoff at that or whatever, but we want to be able to show, be a broad appealing show to everyone. Exactly. Like even kids, right? You want kids to be able to watch, like, oh, I really want to get into hunting. Like I have a 9-year-old, and he's like, oh, Daddy, I want to come with you. And I'm like, well, you have to be 12 years old, to be able to hunt. He can still come with me, but he now has to get his hunter safety and things like that. So so he'll come. He's only 9. He'll come out and scout with me. And
it's very smart that you're saying, though, like to try to reach a broader audience and start there. And then if people want to learn more other things, they can talk to you guys directly, sort of thing. Yeah,
like they can always reach out to us through Facebook. They can message us directly. They can, I think we have one of our phone numbers on there. They can call us. Like, I don't really care. Like, I'm a very easygoing guy. Like, if somebody says, even like I have an idea to start a hunting show, how do I get started? Who do I talk to? Like, I'm not opposed to that. Like, there are people out there that are very protective of this industry and of hunting in general, where they're like, anything new coming in, they are, defensive and wary. And that's what I want to get away from, because I don't want it to be where it seems unattainable to do what we're doing, or even to get into hunting, for kids that are like my son's age, who get pushed back by negative comments that you can't hunt because you're from the city, or things like that. Okay. So I want this to be a positive thing. So we try to stay positive with everything. And
I feel like with today's technology and stuff too, that drive to be outside. And like, that's another thing too. Like, I mean, the show is about hunting, but it's also about being outside in nature and just, general outdoorsman-ness.
Outdoors person.
And I think
everybody's a person nowadays.
That's already right. I think trying to get more children involved with it too would be a good thing, because I mean, I'm assuming
Stumbletown's so good.
There you go. I feel like the numbers of hunters are probably not as good as they used to be, kind of thing. I mean, kids are indoors all the time now, and they're on their iPads.
Well, it's easy. It's more distractions, right? Like, I was brought up in a day and age when there wasn't cell phones, there wasn't iPads, there wasn't even, I mean, we had, I think one of our TVs was black and white. Like, I'm only 36, and so the kids now, like my son's age, or even I have nieces and nephews that are almost in their early teens. There's so many more distractions and things to do. So I think being able to promote this as something fun to do and getting kids interested at a young age, like, is a very important thing to do, even if they don't get into hunting. If they go and they
just getting outside,
they realize that they love fishing, or they realize they love camping, or just getting outside, appreciating our province, appreciating the habitats these animals live in, being a steward of the land knowing that you can't just leave your litter or litter your garbage,
Totally.
things like that, right?
How much more you'd respect that if you were out there all the time, being like, "Where's all this? Why all this trash out here?" You'd have a different respect for it instead of just being like, "Oh, just throw it there on there somewhere."
Yeah.
Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was driving down the highway yesterday, and somebody's throwing out all of their trash right out their window.
Yeah.
I was like, "What the hell?"
That's humans, man. They're just the worst.
Yeah, like like it's good that you mention, that there's people that have disregard, because for every yin there's a yang, right? So there's a couple of really good organizations I want to mention: the Bow Hunters Association of Saskatchewan and the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation. Every, I think, major city or town has a branch, but the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation and the Bow Hunters Association, they both organizations help raise money and funds for awareness for fish and wildlife habitats, conservation, ethical hunting practices, and management of even just management of natural resources. Ducks Unlimited does the same thing for wetlands and things like that. So for every bad person that doesn't appreciate doesn't think twice about dumping garbage on the side of the highway, there are those organizations and people involved. And if you are a bow hunter, a new bow hunter, become a member of the Bow Hunters Association. I think it's like $20 a season or $20 a year. Become a member of the Wildlife Federation, and then you actually get taught, conservancy, and taught, how to be an ethical hunter and management. Like, people need to be stewards of the land.
Yeah. Like I said before, it's not just going out there to kill something. There's so much more things involved with this, like respecting the land and respecting the animals as well. And
hunters are the biggest stewards of the land. Like, there's all these, animal rights companies out there. I'm not going to mention them, but the real stewards and protectors of the species and protectors are these natural habitats, are the people that are out there experiencing them.
Right.
Because I want to hunt till I'm 70, and I want my kids to be able to hunt in the same areas, and I want my grandkids to be able to hunt, and even just be out there and know that it's not going to be a parking lot one day. That piece of land is going to be exactly the same way for the next 100 years, or change slightly. You know what I mean? Even if they're not out there hunting, they can at least go out there and experience it. So that's the plan. And
that's a great point to bring up.
Yeah. So, there's things like, if a kid wants to get involved with hunting, obviously, like, most kids that get involved with hunting have family members, but if there's a kid out there that, that doesn't know what to do, there are, hunter safety courses that can be done online. They'll have to get, their possession and acquisition license, their PAL. There's courses, like I said, they can take through the Wildlife Federation on, ethical hunting practices and conservancy and things like that. They have kids programs too. The Wildlife Federation, Saskatchewan, actually has their own outdoor range, so they can go and practice. And it is hard getting involved with somebody that's by themselves, even an adult that says, "Hey, I want to go hunting, but I don't know where to go." So the best thing I would say to them is, go on Facebook, use social media to your advantage. There are groups dedicated to hunting, like 306 Hunters. Just literally type in the search bar hunting in Saskatchewan, and there's probably like 6 or 7 hunting groups.
Yeah.
Go in there, say, "Hey, I'm new to hunting. I have my safety. I have my this and that. Is there anybody willing to take me out, or even give me some advice on where to go?"
Is that something you guys would do as through printers?
For sure. Like, we actually have taken youth hunters, and our plan is, like I said, to take 1 or 2 or 3 people that we don't know and take them hunting with us every season. And like I said, because we want to hear their story, what got them into it, their different life experiences, things like that.
That's
So
awesome.
with the new trespassing laws that came into effect last year, though, people have to ask for permission to hunt on someone's land. So there's a lot of private land in Saskatchewan. So the best thing I would say to people that are new to hunting, like I said, by all means, I'm not a professional, but you can you go to the RM in the area that you're hunting, get an RM map, see who owns the land, go door to door, knock, introduce yourself. Most people are receptive.
Be professional about it.
Exactly. Like, the big issue they were having before, where they had to change the trespassing laws, was because there's people entering onto land that was posted. They, you know, it has to be posted in a certain way, and they would go past the signs and say, "Oh, I didn't see the sign." This way, it leaves the onus on the hunter, saying you have to physically talk to the landowner and get permission. So this way, it eliminates most of the problems. And then as far as like knowing which zones you're in, because you have to be legal to hunt in a certain zone that you draw for. There's an app called iHunter. It's a really handy app to have on your phone. I think it's available on both Android and iPhones. So download that. And then as far as like resources for the policy and law regarding hunting and trapping and being outdoors, every year there's a Hunters and Trappers Guide that's available on the Saskatchewan government website. There's the Wildlife Act, which is like the law that the policy for hunting and trapping and fishing is all based off of. That's again on the Saskatchewan government website. And in the end, if you have questions that still you can't answer or are confused about, call a conservation officer. They're not there just to report poachers. They're
there to help you.
They are the knowledge in the field. They are the ones that are out there all the time. You can say, "Hey, I saw this animal. He looks sick," or "I saw this poacher," or "this person doing something that I don't think was, legal." Or if you just have a question, like, "I'm a new hunter. I'm confused about this regulation in the Hunters and Trappers Guide. Can you clarify?"
Right.
And every single person I've ever talked to that's a conservation officer is more than friendly, more than happy to help. Every year they actually have a booth at the Sports and Leisure Show. So it breaks kind of down the barrier of, "Hey, I'm in a uniform. I'm law enforcement. You're a hunter. We're on opposite sides of the table." Hunters and conservation officers are actually, there's no table.
Yep.
Everybody's on the same
team, man.
Same team, man. And the people that aren't on the same team aren't the people that you want in the field anyways. So, and then again, like I said, contact us, like info@prairiehunteradventures.com is our email, and contact us through Messenger on Facebook, Instagram, same thing. We can answer questions. We'll do our best.
Yeah, at least
like
point in the right direction.
Exactly.
Right?
If we don't know the answer, we will find somebody that does and point them in your direction. So, as far as like our plans for 2019.
Yeah, what's next for
what's
Prairie
next?
Hunter?
Some pretty exciting stuff. This last season or last March, we were at, I guess we're still in March, beginning of this month. A month ago.
When this was recorded.
Yeah, we were at the Sports and Leisure Show, and we sold apparel like we always do, but our primary focus was to get a hold of people in the industry that would be interested in filming with us, regardless of what it was about. So, like, for example, we met a guy named Tyler Harris who's involved with Shoot for the Vitals. It's a campaign to raise awareness for organ and tissue donation. It's him and his family has several members who have a genetic defect where it creates bone marrow failure. So several members of their family have already died.
Wow.
And I believe the patriarch hunter of the family is like next.
Right.
So
they're trying to raise awareness.
Yeah. So they're trying to raise awareness, raise money. So him and his family were at the Sports and Leisure Show. APA Archery, that hunting bow company, they actually made them a bow for free.
Oh, very nice.
And colored it the green and black is the same as the organ donation ribbon.
Okay.
And they're giving it away, or they're raffling it away. So we're gonna go out to there's the 3D archery shoot. Do you know what a 3D archery shoot is?
No.
Okay, so they take foam animals. It's literally like deer, bear, and they stage them throughout a forest.
Okay.
And you go and you shoot them with your arrows, and the better, because each ring has a number, I guess.
Okay.
I've never done it before. The person who gets the highest score wins.
So what's the 3D part? Do you have to wear goggles and stuff?
No, the target's 3D. So it's not a 2D target. So it's a foam animal, 3D, three-dimensional.
I thought you were wearing like goggles.
Yeah, no. So they put on this shoot every year. I think it's the 4th annual this year.
Very cool.
So we talked to Tyler, who's like a nature and wildlife photographer as well. And we said, "Hey, why don't we come and film 3D shoot? Why don't we get involved? We'll shoot ourselves, film it's a whole weekend event and make it part of an episode and raise awareness. And maybe we can even bring them a check for some money. And it's in June and we're looking forward to it. So if anybody that's listening to this wants to get a hold of Tyler, his email is shootforthevitals@gmail.com. And another great opportunity we have is we're partnering with a program called Access to the Outdoors in the Yorkton area and a company called Pheasant Point Adventures to film a multi-day hunt, which is donated to 2 well-deserving people with disabilities. So last year they had a kid with autism that's never even held a gun, I believe they told me.
Okay.
And they showed him how to shoot it, and he actually harvested 2 pheasants. Or a
good
few,
for him.
yeah. And so every year they take 2 deserving people, they get them a gun, they give them the gun, and they pay for this a multi-$1,000 hunt and give it to them for free.
Wow.
And then every year they try to bring somebody along to film it, to document it, so that these people can watch it back and, years from now and say, oh, they remember it and reminisce, and because it's something that they'll probably only be able to do once in their life. So
right.
It's great for hunters involved, to have the whole experience captured on film for them to look back. So we're going to do that, and pretty excited that they asked us to be involved. We're going bear hunting for the first time this spring.
That's intense, man.
I believe a country music artist by the name of Brad Johnner may be involved.
Mr. Brad Johnner, the Johnner Brothers.
Yeah, so if you listen to or watch our episodes, the twangy twang music.
That's courtesy of Mr. Brad Johnner.
Do you know him?
I've known him through the store.
Yeah.
I know who he is. And
What store is that? Courtesy of Brad Johnner.
yeah, courtesy of Brad Johnner.
So our producer has met him before and through different marketing and networking events. So he's going to be involved, I believe. Don't mark my words, but hopefully he makes an appearance on film, because that'd be great.
Where are you doing that?
Up around PA, wherever bears live. PA.
I know my dad's seen bears multiple times.
That probably sounded very.
Well, how about
professional.
he's towards.
Well, he works at the Wingard Ferry.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty close to
Duck
PA.
Lake. Yeah, that whole area is full of bears. I mean, it's right down by the river, right? So he
Black
sees
bears,
them
I'm
all the time.
guessing?
But I have no idea.
Yeah.
All I know is one tried to get in the shack, and all he had was an axe, and that bear would have hit the door just
Boom.
right. He would have been
They're
in.
massive, yeah.
Would have been bear meat.
Yep.
So, that was got loud there for a second. So we're gonna bear hunt, and then Cabela's Saskatchewan, actually, or Cabela's in general, Canada, has this grant program that we're trying to get our hands on. We're hoping to use the money for is actually taking a youth hunter from the time they get their hunter safety all the way to the time they're comfortable to shoot the gun, practicing with it, getting them a gun, getting them camouflage, and taking them on a hunt and filming the entire thing. So we're in the process of applying for that. Cooking episodes, again, like I said, we're going to try to do some stuff with that.
Busy year, man.
This is all the stuff that came out of the Sports and Leisure Show. So on top of our regular hunts that we are trying to plan in the fall, the regular mule deer, spot and stalk hunts, the regular whitetail out of our tree stand and blind hunts, the regular, on top of it, like I'm Super A, top of the list, or top of the pool. For most people, there's this other top pool, but I'm not top of that. So I'm Super A for moose, Super A for mule deer draw, and Super A for elk.
Means you have a better chance of getting a ticket?
Yeah.
Okay.
So out of the majority of people that apply for draws, other than there's a legacy pool, I believe, people that have been over 10 years or something. But for the majority of the people, I'm the top of the pool, and then we all get shuffled together, and hopefully I get drawn. So on top of these plans that we have to film, we have my regular hunts. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy year.
That's crazy, man.
And Carrot River, because every Carrot River has a tourism board involved. They came by our booth and was like, hey, how we put you up in a cabin and get you an outfitter, and you show off our area.
That's awesome, man.
I honestly don't even know where Carrot River is.
We'll figure it out later.
We will look at a map
Yeah.
and figure it out. So
Man, I can't believe how busy 2018 is going to be for you.
yeah, so and then like I said, sponsors, we can't do this show and show off these people and show off their experiences without sponsors. So we have a sponsor package if people are interested in it. If somebody with a like maybe Justin's oil company,
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Saturn,
Yeah.
Saturn Oil,
Yeah, maybe.
right out of
right?
Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Justin. Any companies that want to get involved, either with, help us raise money for good causes like Shoot for the Vitals, or just want to get involved with their show as a sponsor, they can email us again at info@prairiehunteradventures.com. We do have a sponsor package that outlines everything. I know it's boring stuff that most people.
No, but I mean, the idea of this was trying to get local businesses to get a bigger platform and
like
say this thing, so.
I am literally not doing this to make money.
Yep.
I'm doing this. I enjoy it. I do this I'm doing this so that we can share people's stories.
Yep.
And I do it because maybe one day my son can take over for me and do it. And
That's awesome, man.
Carry it on. And I'm all about, like we talked earlier, I like telling stories.
Yeah.
So if we can do that through a webisode series and
Through a new
eventually
medium.
yeah, through a different medium, then great. And we have some really creative people. And I mean, I talk about the show with you guys, my friends, my group of friends all the time, and bounce ideas. And I see you're wearing one of our old t-shirts. Oh, you flex there. You flex. That pec flexed at me.
Yeah.
I actually think we won that in
This was a part of the
Christmas giveaway.
Christmas giveaway
Yes.
thing. Yeah. He was selfishly plugging his company
For
during
people-
I
the
tried
giveaway.
really hard to win that for
Yeah,
you.
for people listening, I'm literally taking the picture we're going to post on our. He's flexing.
Do I hold it? Do I hold it?
And smile. And look
Breathe
at
in,
the
breathe in.
camera though.
The camera?
Okay, we got the picture.
Oh, I'm cramping.
So yeah. So it's been a transformation from start to finish, and who knows where we'll be or if we will be in a year or two from now. But
It's really exciting, man.
trying to stay positive, and we appreciate we as in me and Kyle and the show appreciate having us on your podcast.
Anything, if we can get you one more person interested in your company, I think we've did our job. That's all we're trying to do here is have a really good time and introduce new people from around here that need to have a voice heard kind of thing and have really cool stories. And you guys are definitely one of them.
Yeah. And Stumbletown is delicious.
Stumbletown's delicious.
I will agree. My cup is empty.
Yeah, she needs a refill. Already.
I've been doing too much talking and not drinking. So I'm glad I brought notes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You did a really good
On the
job.
hashtag take two.
Hashtag take
Do you have any
two.
hunters in your family, Ty?
I don't. I think my Uncle Terry used to hunt maybe a little bit around where he
Fish,
lived.
too?
And well, they fished, yeah.
Yeah.
I never grew up doing that kind of stuff. Fishing, maybe. I was never very good at it. I'm sure if you ask my dad, there'll be one story where I was going to catch what could be considered a decent sized fish. And I was told to take my time, but I really wanted to see it. So I lifted the rod up really high so I could see it, and it fell off the hook and went in the water.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't take you fishing.
Don't take me fishing.
Or you can observe.
I'll watch. Yeah.
You can document.
You can teach me.
I
Can
could
teach me.
I could
teach
fish
teach
and
the Tyler to fish.
Teach the Tyler to fish.
I could fish and you could document.
There we go.
There you go.
But no, like even if I don't know if you guys are interested ever to come out and sit and like there's nothing saying that you have to hunt. You can come and sit in a blind and
Yeah, just
one
enjoy
nice
it.
warm.
My sister used to hunt with my grandpa. I never really got into it because when I was young, they owned
Yeah.
the bar in Laird.
Yeah.
But then they moved back out to the farm when my sister was still pretty young. I think I was probably like 12. So I was like,
But even just like sitting in a blind and having a white-tailed deer walk in front of your blind, like it's a little pop-up tent type thing, if you understand what I'm saying, and have the deer stand there 20, 30 feet in front of you and it has no idea you're there.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool experience. So
Yeah.
even just to bring people out for that, I mean, we could do that and you could see firsthand what it's about. Like we don't need to shoot anything. I think experiencing from every facet or every kind of angle, it gives people a better appreciation for what outdoorsmen and hunters and people, because I'm even like fishing kids that I remember the first fish my kid caught, he was grinning ear to ear. And he had no idea what a fish was. He had no idea. He was, I think, like 3 years old. And why did he smile? What made him smile?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
And-
awesome. That's a great way to
That's
put
very
it.
cool,
kinda,
yeah.
is
So-
to get the experiences of being with family outdoors and
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
I think I've caught 1 or 2 fish in my life.
Hey, that's
like
pretty good.
I've got, that was when I was like 4,
Yeah,
5.
yeah.
Like, and I remember it though.
They still count. All
And
memories count.
Yeah, all the other times it's like at last year at Farm Fest, Jimmy brought extra fishing rods. And he's like, oh, you can use mine if you want. And I was like, this is fun. Like, why don't we do this more often?
I know, right?
Yeah, we had a good time.
We'll have to make this a better, a more outdoorsy experience in the future. Well, thanks again for doing this,
Yeah,
Greg. This
you're
is
welcome.
awesome. Big shout out again to Prairie Hunter Adventures. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hashtag Trice Life.
Yup.